It's time to do the July budget, and unexpected expenses in June are going to make it a tight one. I'll show you how I'm making the numbers work. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about household budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If those sound like things that you vibe with, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below, because I would love to hear from you. I'm working on my July budget today, and it's going to be a little bit different from the previous month's budgets just because I've had two unexpected doctor visits and one unexpected trip to the dentist in June. So I need to make sure that I plan for the out of pocket portion of those expenses next month. I don't know how much it's going to be. I do have the explanation of benefits for the urgent care visit, but I haven't received that for the specialist visit or for the dentist yet. So all I can do is estimate. And essentially, what that means is that I'm not going to have any money to stockpile into any of my long term goals this month other than my Roth IRA. So let me get started filling out the budget overview, and I'll show you how the numbers are going to look. So the first thing that I do when I set up my monthly budget is I look at the previous month's budget and I fill in everything that is going to be the same. So let me open up my budget book and we'll look at the June budget here on the right. And I always start with income. So let's get ready here. Let me write in July 2025. It's hard to believe that half the year is gone already. So income, I have paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. I get paid twice a month on the 15th and on the last day of the month, and each of those is going to be the same. Now, normally I get a pay increase in July, but I don't know what that's going to be, and I don't know for certain that it's going to be on the first check. So I'm just planning for the June income again in July. I'm also expecting to get some kind of a bonus in July. I don't know how much, and I don't know when. It's usually on the second paycheck, but again, the quarter hasn't really closed yet, so I don't really know what the bonus is going to be. And then we have my cell phone reimbursement. I have my own cell phone, but my company pays $100 a month toward the hardware and the service on it. So that brings me to $6,240, which is identical to what I had in June. So now let's talk about the bills. These are typically fixed expenses or anything that's going to come up in the month that I already know about when I do the budget. So first of all, we have the rent, and that is always going to be the same. Well, at least for this lease, $1,792. Also, I will get a bill for the water, sewer, garbage. I don't have that yet. That will be somewhere between 100 and 120, I think. I don't know. I've only received one bill so far, which was the one that was due in June, and that was $98. So I don't know if that was on the low end, on the high end, typical. I don't know where in the range that falls. So I'm going to continue to plan 120 for now. Also, I will have my Orca card. This is the transit card. This is the top-up portion of my transit expenses, where I buy a monthly pass, but then if I take a ride that costs more than the value of my pass, I have to pay the difference. And this goes into a sort of a wallet on my transit card, and it will pull from that if I take one of those rides, which I do most days. Why not buy a more expensive pass? Because I don't use transit every day. So buying the lower value pass and paying up for any of the extra rides is the way to go for me. Okay, so then let's talk about iCloud, which I pay for every month, and it's $3. And then renter's insurance is $15, and that usually comes out on the 3rd. On the 5th, I should get the bill for Quantum, or I should pay the bill for Quantum, which is my home internet, $80. On the 10th is YouTube Premium, and that is $16 a month. On the 16th will be Orca. That will be my August monthly pass, $72. On the 21st, PUD, which is electricity, $60 is what I'm planning on. This is another one where I haven't gotten a whole lot of bills, and I haven't even paid the June bill yet, so I don't know what that's going to be. So, and it came in later than I thought it would. Also on the 21st, Affirm, which is my cell phone hardware, that is nearly paid off. but I pay $43 a month toward that. I financed that at 0%, specifically because I didn't have to pay any interest on it. And in these credit markets, I thought that was the way to go. So I'm still paying on that. 24th, Visible, which will be my monthly cell phone service plan, $35. And then in June, I had Canva Pro and I had a haircut. Those were expenses that I did not that I do not have every single month, right? So those are only occasional expenses. So I'm not going to have those in July. But let's look at the bills and expenses that I do have. This is just a subscription tracker. This is a yearly subscription tracker, so in here I'm looking for anything that would come out in July, and I don't see anything, so nothing to worry about there. And then I have my non-monthly recurring expenses, which are prescriptions and a haircut. Haircut I do in even months, so I had that in June. I won't need another one in July. And then I have prescriptions, and those will come out in July, so I need to make sure that I plan $150 for that. So I'm going to write in on the 20th, prescriptions, 150, and I hope that I get the same deal this time that I did last time. I may switch pharmacies, we'll see how that goes, but at least I'm planning for it. Then I had 2 visits to the doctor and 1 visit to the dentist in June. Very expensive month for medical dental, so I need to plan for those. So I'm going to say on the 20th I will get Dr. Bill 1, or I will pay Dr. Bill 1 for, I'm guessing that is going to be around $280. I did get the explanation of benefits for that from my insurance company, but I don't necessarily agree with the numbers, so I need to wait until I get the bill and then call the provider and see what's going on there. I'm also going to say that around the 20th I should get the doctor bill for the second office visit, which was to a specialist, and because that was a specialist, I'm going to plan on $400. And then lastly, a trip to the dentist to repair a tooth that I chipped, or actually I re-chipped the tooth. I'm going to guess that's going to be around $300. So I don't know any of these figures for sure, but that is what I'm budgeting. So if I end up not spending that money, I will put it into a stockpile. If I do end up spending more than that, it will come out of the buffer or the blip fund or cash flow. I will find the money. But that is a reasonable estimate, I feel, for what I'm going to have to pay out in a known bill for July. So let me get out the calculator and add all these up real quick. And let's see what we're going to need to plan for bills for July. Okay, $3,416. That is quite a lot of money. And I need to make sure that I put these in here too. 6,240, 3,416. But none of these are optional. So, well, I mean, YouTube Premium is optional. Everything else is a must pay. So I've got to make sure that I do that. Okay, let's talk about wallet spending next. So this is by Friday. And what this is this is the money that I give myself every week for food and discretionary spending. So this would also cover things like household, like laundry detergent, bath soap, whatever, as well as entertainment, anything that is not a bill and is not savings. So that would all go in here. And I give myself $300 a week, which I feel is pretty reasonable. Cost of food here is high, so a lot of this does go to food. So that's going to be $1,200. Stockpiles, I am planning nothing because there's not enough money for it. Savings and extra debt, this is by Wednesday, and this is the Roth IRA contributions that I do. I make 2 videos a week, one on Mondays, one on Wednesdays. Monday is game night, Wednesday is savings challenge books, and that money I use to fund my Roth IRA. So after July, I should be pretty close to getting it fully funded. And that's going to be $300 a week. So $1,500 total. So wallet spend, $1,200. Stockpiles, nothing. Savings and extra debt, $1,500. So let's see what the total remaining is. So we've got 6,240, and we're going to take away 3,416, 1,200, and 1,500. So that leaves me with a remainder of $124. I like leaving that in here as a buffer. Something between $100 and $200 is usually good for me, just because these tend to fluctuate. I do go over a lot more than I'd like, and that will be absorbed here. I may also end up going over in some of these. I might have extra in some of these, to be determined, but this is the best plan that I can make at this point in the month. Okay, so let me set this one aside and we'll talk about all of the other worksheets that I get started for the beginning of the month here next. Okay, the next worksheet that I fill out each month is a cash allocation worksheet. So this is for July 2025. And I fill out the wallet and the stockpiles. The wallet, just because I'm in the habit of doing it, I give myself $200 for groceries and household each week on Friday. So this is going to be 7/4. And also $100 in cash. Now, I don't necessarily spend $100 in cash each week, but I want to make sure at the start of each week that I have $100 in cash available to me, meaning out of the bank and in my home bank, so that I have it to spend as needed. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that for the rest of the weeks, and fortunately, there are only 4 Fridays in July. August, oops, this is cash, not groceries, cash. August, there are going to be 5, so that's going to be an extra week of spending. I think there's going to be some month, and I don't know if it's August, but at some point there's going to be 5 Wednesdays and 5 Fridays in a month, and those are the really scary months because that's $3,000 between my savings and my wallet spend. So I got to make sure that I control the bills in those months. But for this month, we're doing okay. So this will be for the 18th, 200 cash on the 18th, 100 groceries and household on the 25th, 200 and cash on the 25th, 100. And then over here, if I were putting money towards stockpiles, this is where I would note it. But I'm not doing anything towards stockpiles, or I'm not planning on anything towards stockpiles this month. So it's getting a 0. What a stockpile is, some people might call this a sinking fund. For me, this is a big goal that I'm working toward. Right now, my big goal is called the big move. And that is where I'm planning on relocating to another state, and I'm saving up for all the moving and relocation expenses. I figure I need about $15,000 to make that happen, but there just isn't any money to put toward it in July based on my plan, so it's getting skipped for this month. And some months are going to be like that, and that's okay. All right, so that's the cash allocation sheet. Let's next talk about the monthly cash flow tracker. For me, this is like a check register, so something that I use to keep track of everything that's going on in my checking account. And I won't know any of the numbers to put in here, the beginning balance. Obviously, I won't know the end balance until the month starts. But I'm just getting it set up so that when the month does start, it's ready to go. Same is true of the next sheet, which is my expense tracker. Now, if there were 5 Fridays in the month, I would print out 2 of these, but because there's only 4, I'm going to try really hard to stick to just one sheet. And this is where I write down anything that goes on a credit card over the course of the month. Usually it's groceries and maybe some restaurant spending. If I have to make a Target run because I run out of laundry detergent or whatever, that would also go in here. So I keep that as up to date as I can for the week. I don't track cash expenses, but everything that goes on a credit card goes on here so that I can relate that back to the wallet spend and making sure that I'm not going over. Or if that I am going over, at least I know I've gone over, so I can adjust my spending for the rest of the month to try to absorb those extra expenses. Okay, so that's this one. And then lastly, we have the month-end review. And for filling out the month-end review, I will need to get the budget overview sheet back out because I need the numbers. So this is going to be July 2025. So income plan is $6,240. And the other thing that I forgot to mention about the income plan is that if my income does go up because of a raise, I will probably put that towards savings, meaning that I will increase my 401k contributions, so I probably won't even see the increase, or if I do, it won't be for very long. So I'm going to continue planning at $6,240. Total bills, $3,406 on this one. Oh, this is my draft sheet. it actually came out to 3,416. That's okay. We'll just make the note here. Total wallet spending, 1,200. Stockpile, 0. Savings, 1,500. That's the Roth IRA. Extra debt payment, nothing, because I don't have any extra debt, or I don't have any debt other than the Affirm bill, which I'm just paying monthly because it's at 0% and because my company is paying for it. And then the total remainder, we're expecting $124 left. This says 134, but it's actually 24 because this was off by $10. Okay, so that's all set up to do the month-end review. At the end of each month, I put in the numbers, and then I think about what went well, what needs improvement, and anything that I need to remember for this month next year. So in 2026, when I'm doing my monthly budgets, I will refer to the 2025 sheets so that if I need to note anything of importance for what's going on that month, I've got that reference already. This is the first year that I'm using these, the first full year that I'm using these anyway. So I don't have anything to reference now, but I'm setting it up where I will have something to look at in the future. Okay, so that's it for the monthly worksheets. So then what I will do is I will get these all hole punched. I will put them into my binder behind the June sheet so that when July starts, it's ready to go. And then every week on Friday, usually, sometimes it slips to Saturday, but usually on Friday, I do a weekly check-in or a weekly update where I fill in all the numbers that are known for that week, talk about anything that happened that was a surprise, any over or under budget amounts, and how the month is going. So if you're interested in following along for that, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in any of these worksheets, they're available on my Etsy shop as a digital download. A link to my Etsy shop is down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care.